Raw. Do we make a pilot for Ghost Losers? Extreme.
You and I have differing opinions potentially this episode. Amusing. He likes to have his fun.
We are Guide to the Unknown, and these are our Ghost Adventures.
Hello, welcome to Ghost Adventures. I'm Kristen.
And I'm her little brother, William.
And this week we're going to be talking about episode 5 of season 1, Sloss Furnaces, set in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah, this episode originally aired November 14th, 2008. Mm-hmm. And spoiler alert, I both liked and did not like it.
I found it definitely the most dull of these season 1 episodes that we've watched so far.
Yeah, which is funny too, because like in retrospect, after having taken my notes and going through them for this recording, like there's a bunch of stuff here that I actually really like.
Yeah.
But I feel like the furnace environment itself maybe just wasn't quite as exciting as some of the others.
I don't know what it is. I also felt like maybe their energy was dialed down a little bit. Like, not like crazy, but I don't know, something just felt different here.
Yeah, low energy.
Yeah.
Low energy, I think is right, yeah.
I mean, they were still yelling at ghosts here and there, but just something felt a little off. I found myself having a little bit of a harder time focusing on this episode.
Yeah, I agree. I almost wonder if there was something happening to us, you know?
Yeah,
but
maybe we're the problem. That's true.
Maybe. I feel like there was less interaction with the people who run the furnaces. They definitely did the like ahead of lockdown interviews and everything, but for some reason there was just less character.
Yeah, they felt a little bit more separate. Like those people weren't kind of with them doing long walkthroughs.
Yeah.
Maybe it was that they were talking to a lot of people about their individual stories rather than us having a narrative. Like a lot of it was, you know, and this is terrible. I don't mean to list this out, like no big deal, but it was like, okay, this worker had an accident, then got killed. Then this worker had an accident, got killed, rather than a family lived here and this was their life. And then this happened. I wonder if that being the nature of it, I don't know, affected things at all.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there was less like emotional storytelling up front.
Yeah, I think that could be.
I like kind of cared less about the location.
Yeah, I think that could be. And also a weird thing, I don't know if this speaks to us maybe having a little bit less of an attention span for this. Aaron wasn't in like half the episode.
Is that right?
Yes, Nick was manning the camera while they were doing the walkthroughs, talking to people and learning about it. And then Aaron popped up. Like I saw him on the ground level when, we'll talk about it later, when they climb up that giant tower.
Yeah.
Aaron's on the ground looking up at them. But because I didn't see him at all. And then all of a sudden I see a telltale goatee. But Nick is holding the camera.
Yeah, you're right.
And going up there. And then Aaron is all of a sudden there during the lockdown.
Maybe we were missing a flavor.
Maybe we were. I don't know. Everything just felt like a little different here.
Yeah,
but you know, what can you do? They can't all be winners.
C'est la vie.
C'est la vie. Okay, let me read you the kind of condensed description of this episode.
Cool.
Sloss Furnaces was built in the late 1800s in Birmingham, Alabama, and has a sad history of accidental deaths. Men were incinerated in the furnace during a work accident. There were tons of other accidents, like people essentially being boiled by steam and being caught up and ground in giant wheel mechanisms. A lot of tragedy has happened there. The guys speak to a worker who theorizes that the souls of the people killed there are unsettled because their deaths were so sudden, and Zach concurs. However, not all the deaths were accidental. It said there was a foreman named Slag who was super mean and got pushed into the furnace. The furnace is no longer in operation, but it's used for events, and people have seen figures, have been slapped in the face by an unseen force, and had a handprint that, rather than feeling hot, felt cold from the impact. A particular hot spot there is an underground tunnel where the figure of a man has been seen. An employee who's so into the furnaces that she has a tattoo of them on her back tells Zach that when you come into the tunnel, you'll often see people at the end. If you have the nards to walk toward them, once you get about halfway through, you'll hear the sound of people behind you. What will our friends hear when they investigate? Let's find out.
A lot of bangs.
Lots of bangs.
Yeah, pots and pans.
Yeah, they see
pipes.
Some lights, stuff like this.
Yeah, all this and such.
Right.
Most convincing piece of evidence. Let's launch right into this.
Okay.
Most convincing piece of evidence.
Okay, so for me, similar to other episodes, I really just can't help. I know this might not be what we envisioned when we first came up with the idea of most convincing piece of evidence, but I just can't help factoring it in whenever it comes up. Aaron wanting to leave when they're down in the tunnel was convincing to me, of like a freaky vibe. So first of all, he said that he felt like something hit him, and it's a convincing or dramatic moment in that he's like, ah, dude, like he says he feels like something hit him in the eye, and then he goes, okay, let's just go, just for a little bit.
Just for a little bit.
Just for a little bit. And Nick was like, no, dude, it's happening right now. Like, this is what we came for. And
True.
him genuinely seeming to want to bounce from the tunnel was convincing to me.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it was definitely convincing. There was a lot of, like, no, we are not running from this.
Yes.
In this episode. A lot of fear and wanting to run away and then being like, no, I won't. I will stand my ground.
This is what we came here for. And
Yeah.
damn it, we're going to get it.
Yeah. I agree with you. I like that. And it also is because, like, they're there to do a job. They're there to
Right.
do a show. And so to leave means to not get the footage you are there to collect.
Yes. That's completely true, and I didn't even think about that. You're right. Like, not only is it like, we came here to ghost hunt, something scary happened. I know that you're scared and you want to leave even just for a little bit to collect
Yeah.
yourself, but this is literally what we came for as our job, not just
Yeah.
as an investigation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So to like march away from that. Do you know what a responsibility is? Do you know
Yeah.
what an obligation is, Wendy?
Have you? Oh, God. This is our job, Aaron.
Yeah.
See it through. Can't punch out.
I liked Nick being alone in the tunnel by himself. Mm-hmm. And then he gets up to run away because he like hears a sound or whatever. And then much later in the episode, they review the footage and they see what they think is a hand materializing out of nothingness and reaching out for him.
Yes.
I went through a process of thinking it was terrible evidence and then turning a corner and being like, oh, they've now shown a replay of this footage so many times that I feel like I am seeing like this hand come out of the blackness of this tunnel. And I can even see the definition of like fingers that were reaching out for him, especially coupled with what you already said about like the guy who worked at the furnaces and says that a hand slapped him.
Right.
And later Aaron will say that he got punched in the face. Like a materializing hand
Yes.
is what we saw and is like the culprit for all of these attacks. I liked it. I thought it was fun.
You know what I thought was cool in this episode that has been, we've seen it a little bit here and there through the previous ones, but rather than seeing shadows and being like, oh, it's a shadow person, that's an apparition, they caught mist and things forming a couple of times. And so that's another convincing piece of evidence to me because it seems just so much easier to fake a shadow than it would be to fake mist forming.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
I
you can
guess
do
that's-
anything, obviously, but if we suspend disbelief, the misty thing is pretty cool to me.
The mist is cool. There's a moment where they catch on one of their night vision cameras what they think is a ghost materializing around some railings. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was watching it and I was like, something about this seems off. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was cool to see this like misty thing suddenly materialize and then fade away. But it almost felt to me as if the color of the mist was a different shade of green from night vision camera green.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they faked the footage or made that, but like, I don't know, looking at it, it looked artificial to me.
Yeah, you think it's potential that trickery was afoot?
I think trickery may have been afoot with that one. Or just like something else catching light, you
Right.
know? Like, I don't know. It seems like if you shine a flashlight in night vision, it maybe is a very bright green of that type. But like everything around this mist that was created was that like sort of, like classic night vision dark green. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden this very bright spot of green happened in the middle and just didn't feel like it gelled. It looked like Slimer. It like seriously looked like a bright green Ghostbusters Slimer.
Yeah,
Suddenly
yeah.
appeared and then disappeared.
Yeah. All right, so mixed results on the mist.
Yeah, I kind of think so. I'm going with the hand as being the best because it was the most fun and it tied into all of the stories
Right.
that are seemingly happening around Sloss Furnaces. But that amorphous green blob It just didn't look like it was part of the scene.
I don't remember it, to tell you the truth. I don't remember that.
I'll send you a screenshot because I really went like frame by frame on it.
Yeah,
I was kind of fascinated by it. Yeah. Other evidence that I did like though, 4 seconds, like right after they go into lockdown, they make a point of being like, we were only bringing the equipment in. We haven't even done anything yet. And Zach got a major chill down his spine, and he said that he saw somebody in blue overalls and a white shirt.
Yes.
Which is what people would have worn when Sloss Furnaces was probably open and working.
Right.
But he gets very, like, West Coast about it. He goes like, I just saw it with my own eyes, man. Like, he sounds very California. He almost sounds like those guys that go to all those town councils that you were just sending me videos of earlier this week.
I love those guys. So it's JT and Chad. If you guys look that up, you should probably be able to find these like California dude bro comedians. I think they're so funny. They have a video that just went a little bit viral where they were offering free masks to people like on the boardwalk in California. I find them hilarious.
They're super funny, but like I definitely heard that like very California accent come out of Zach. Like, and it made me feel like he was scared and his character almost dropped.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, his defenses were kind of down.
Yeah, show host Zach was nowhere to be found. Being like, whoa, it was gnarly. It almost got me, bro. Like that guy came out. It felt real.
I have 2 more things that I thought were pretty good.
Okay.
I thought the EVP that they captured that they think said, I hate Zach. I thought that sounded pretty good.
Really?
Yes. I could hear that one.
Oh my God.
I know. I could hear it though. It's silly, but I was like, I hate Zach. I get it.
I absolutely could not hear I hate Zach in there. I now I didn't like do re-listens or anything.
I didn't either.
I don't know. It felt like such a big deal for a ghost to say I hate Zach.
I know. It's very silly. I recognize that. Yeah. But I hardly ever can hear what's happening in an EVP, and that one I could hear I hate Zach.
Wow. Okay. That's cool then. Yeah. I couldn't get it, and to me it just felt too big.
It's ridiculous
and wacky. It also is maybe meaningless because like they'll say about that EVP like, could this have been Slag, the violent old foreman?
Right.
And then I'm like, do you have to be an evil spirit to hate Zach? You know, like he's coming around.
Just somebody else.
Yeah, he's making a lot of noise. He's yelling. He won't leave you alone.
That's
Couldn't
true.
even the nicest ghost just be like, I hate Zach.
I hate this guy. I'm just trying to kind of like live my afterlife. He's provoking me. I hate Zach. I can't with this dude.
I hate you. You need to leave us alone. Right? It's not impossible.
It's truly not.
I thought you were going to call out the Come Here EVP, which I actually liked a lot.
No, I couldn't hear that one.
Wow. Okay. So we had like totally opposite experiences with this.
Yeah. I couldn't pick it up.
That's funny. So Zach is alone and he is yelling out to Slag, who I'm sure that'll show up in Best Quote later. But at a certain point, he's like, as he's shouting to Slag and being like, make some noise. And then Slag does make noise. You like hear like a pipe, like a tap on a pipe or something. And he goes, oh, that's all you can do? You can do better than that. Which is like, you just asked me to make noise and now you're not satisfied?
Yeah, right. I did it.
You're confusing. I hate Zach.
I hate Zach. He told me to do something. I did it. And then it's not up to his standards.
It's not good enough for you? Right. But so then they catch what they think is an EVP later on of a voice going, come here. Mm-hmm. And it's more threatening than anything else, which I really liked. And it's also something that like an overbearing boss, like an abusive monster boss, like come here right now. Like I don't know. I liked that one. That one I thought was a spooky ghost sound.
Yeah, it like fit the idea of Slag.
Yeah, I guess the ones that I liked this time were the ones that fit the story in my head.
I know. I wonder if because there wasn't quite... Slag is one of the only like personalities that we find out or that we learn about for one of the supposed ghosts. So I wonder if you kind of latched on to that because it plays into the very little narrative that we even have.
I think I did. I like the idea, like is a weird word to use, but I'm enamored with the idea of this furnace being up and running and this horrible foreman who's like a monster guy and pushes everyone around and makes them work under dangerous circumstances, and then they all just team up and push him into a furnace.
Right. There's like a story there.
There's a story there. And now that old foreman who was murdered but is still an ass is haunting the furnaces. I think that's super fun. And the idea that he slapped that guy who works there, that he punched Aaron in the face, and that his hand appears, you know?
Yeah. I thought that was kind of a neat detail, the idea that he may have, the hand appearing, I just realized you're talking about the mist, but I was thinking about the mark on that guy's face.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a cool detail, the idea that maybe he slapped that guy in the face, and then rather than the area that's red and, theoretically inflamed being hot, that it's cool to the touch.
Yeah,
I think
that's
kind of cool.
It was funny, though, that, like, those two dudes who work there, who, like, one of them was wearing, like, a Ninja Turtles shirt or something like that.
I really enjoyed these guys.
Yeah. But, like, they were telling the story in tandem. And then the guy who got slapped is, talking about how he got hit in the face. And then the other guy is like, yeah, it was cool to the touch. I was like, you reached out and touched your buddy's face?
Boy, I thought the same thing. I was like, I wish I could have seen how this went down. Like,
yeah.
It makes it sound, well, it doesn't make it sound like, but I was like, was he like cradling his friend's face?
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's so
like,
strange.
I'm so sorry. Or, yeah, like, why did you touch it?
Yeah. Strange choice.
Yeah, I know.
Strange move.
I thought the same thing. I would have liked to see these, like, they look pretty young, like maybe like late teens, early 20s. This was filmed, in the mid 2000s. So they looked mid 2000s. Like they had, or at least one of them had kind of like long hair that had like a bleached chunk in it. They're wearing like big t-shirts. And it's funny to think of that guy like holding the other guy's face who had just been slapped by a ghost and being like, this is cool to the touch.
Why, Horace?
Yeah.
Your cheek has gone cold.
Right. I liked it. My last piece of convincing evidence was when Zach was yelling. He went into another character like he did in the jail, where he was like, I'm taking your job, slag. And then after he yelled, I'm taking your job, a noise happened right after that.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Smack Talk got results.
Right, Smack Talk got results. It seemed like it could have been in response to the provocation.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that entire scene was pretty interesting. Although, devil's advocate, you're hanging out in a big old abandoned furnace. You think it's dead silent in there?
I don't know, maybe. I mean, it's not like, I don't think it's been operational for a really long time. So I can't argue strongly against it, but it doesn't seem outside the realm of possibility to me that things just don't move. Yeah, I mean, it's probably just like all rusted in place.
I know, but that means that's probably decaying and falling apart.
Yeah, true.
Like if you go stand in the forest, you're going to hear a bunch of like, cracking of sticks and stuff. And not all of that is because, a deer stepped on it. Sometimes it's just gravity and decay and time and, kinetic energy, potential energy until something just snaps.
Yeah.
So if you hang out in Sloss Furnace long enough, you're probably going to hear a bunch of sounds. I can't imagine that everything there is completely fastened in place.
Yeah, that's totally true.
But it was super fun.
Yeah, it was cool.
That part I really liked.
Right.
Worst evidence. No, okay. Let's go straight to the bad stuff.
All right, worst evidence.
Worst evidence.
All right, you want to go first?
Sure. The one that I flagged as like my straight up worst was a toss up between that green Slimer mist or I Hate Zach. So the only other one that I've got for this is an EVP that they caught in the tunnel. They say that it sounds like a roar.
Yes.
And that it sounds like a kid's voice.
That's also mine.
Yeah, and then Aaron hears footsteps in the tunnel, and Zach screams out, "Quit toying with us."
Right.
I just didn't buy that entire moment.
Yeah, me too. I wrote little child's voice EVP. I heard nothing.
Little child's voice.
Yeah.
That doesn't... It's out of context. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't even fit the storyline. Although, I mean, you could, if you're... I don't know, if you're thinking of it in a different way, who knows what the hell that was before Sloss Furnaces? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
I guess that's
maybe
true.
it was somewhere where there would be a little child's voice, but I just didn't hear it in
Right.
the EVP. It just sounded like nothing to me.
Yeah, and I guess theoretically, like, just because it doesn't match with, people who would have worked at a furnace.
Right.
Like, who's to say that, like, kids didn't come here to
Yeah.
explore the furnaces themselves and end up dying?
Right.
Or,
Take your child to work day.
Sure, there you go. Yeah, exactly. So, like, something that doesn't fit the mold might actually be more real because it's incongruous.
True. Incongruous.
But I didn't buy it.
Yeah. I have something here for worse evidence that's like, it's not terrible, but I felt like mentioning it because they kind of made something of it and I just felt unsure about it. That glowing ball of light that they thought might have been something. They saw this like little orb of light through the camera and they said that they tried to debunk it. Like they went down toward, it wasn't down in the tunnel, it was above ground.
Yeah.
And they investigated it and tried to see if there was anything that would have made that happen, something that light could have reflected off of, and they just couldn't find any source for why there would be this glowing ball of light. And so it's not terrible or anything. It wasn't the biggest deal, but I was just like, I don't know. I feel like there must have been something that created that. For whatever reason, I'm sure in another episode there could be a ball of light where I'm like, that's my best evidence. But for some reason in this one, it just didn't seem compelling to me.
Yeah, it's about like how it's presented and how meaningful it is. That's also one of those things where it's like anytime that they saw, I think it's around the time that they see the hand as well, they go like, there's a speck on the camera that disappears into nothing. I'm like, there's got to be so much crap in the air.
Oh, of course. I mean, can you imagine how dusty it is? Like, think about any beautiful shot in like a nice movie where there's sunlight streaming through a window and you see dust motes like moving through the sunlight. Think about what's happening in this old furnace.
I know. Yeah, Zach will eventually start wearing a mask going to a bunch of these locations, like a respirator.
Yeah.
I think he should have started here.
Well, I think that's the thing. I didn't realize it, but Liz said last week that he said he felt like he developed problems from going into places without a respirator.
Right.
And that it would be further aggravated by not doing it. So I think you're absolutely right. It sounds like he probably should have.
Yeah.
I actually don't think it's ridiculous that he does that. Like, I know he's a ridiculous character and everything, but I think it's smart.
Oh, not at all. No. I think it's very smart.
Yeah.
Listen, I am, like many of us, very recently, very pro-mask.
Oh, yeah.
To the degree that, like, even when, like, COVID is over and all that stuff, I will definitely...
Oh, I will too.
...consider wearing masks, like, for the rest of my life, without a doubt.
I absolutely will too. I mean, it's it's not a joy or anything.
Yeah.
But it's smart. And what's the big
it's
deal?
Smart.
May as well.
Absolutely.
You know
Not
what
feeling
I mean?
well, feeling a little under the weather, mask.
Yeah, and I think it's going to probably be more normalized.
I
even
agree.
After COVID now. I just think whatever, we need to go into it. But I think
investigating an abandoned factory, mask.
Oh, mask right up. William, the
Yeah.
next time you and I do ghost hunting, if we're inside a structure, masks up, baby, whether it's COVID time or not.
Absolutely. 1,000%. Yes.
Yeah. My last thing was, it might be the same thing. You and I have differing opinions potentially this episode. Is the hand that they saw materialize the same thing as this? I wrote the mist with, quote, an arm that morphs into its body. Is that
Yes.
the same as the hand?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess I didn't really quite say this correctly, but I felt that they poorly explained it, or they saw something different from what I saw. Because at one point looking at this mist, they described it as like you can see the head. I didn't see any of that stuff.
See the face, the eyes, the nose, the mouth. The face.
Yeah, exactly. See a leprechaun.
Yeah.
I saw only a hand that materialized and reached out and then faded away.
Okay.
That is exactly what I saw. No more, no less.
Okay.
And I really actually like the idea of just a somewhat disembodied arm. Or, maybe the whole ghost is there.
Right.
But when ghosts manifest and become, corporeal and are capable of hitting, slapping, punching the living, they turn into that white mist or something. So just the hand
Yeah.
became visible because it was full of so much aggression and rage. It felt aggression.
It felt aggression. It felt rage. And also maybe that was the only part that it needed in that moment.
Right.
So maybe it takes a lot of energy, that they say, to, fully manifest a form. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, I really just want to hit these guys. I really only need to work on my arm being there.
Exactly. Yeah, that was what I saw anyway, and the story that I told myself about it.
Yeah.
But so that was one of your worst pieces?
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I think it's fun to... I'm actually really, kind of enjoying the idea that you and I walked away from this episode with vastly different
I know.
likes and dislikes of their evidence pool. That's kind of cool. And like, presumably that's what, everybody who watched the episode did. Everybody has their own reaction to stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And because this is something that's unproven, it's all so relative and so open to your own interpretation.
Yeah.
And it makes me think that, not this episode in particular, but in general, I feel like that could support the idea that even if it were proven, let's say, it might all still be open to interpretation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure. It's all what you
just-
make of it.
Right. And also, maybe it's just the kind of thing that can never be definite. Like, if they can't fully materialize and we can't all agree, we're always going to have things that we see differently. Even if we were to agree that this is real, it's always going to be like clouds because it's just not solid.
Yeah, it's great. So that was your last piece of bad evidence?
Yes.
Worst evidence? All right,
Yep.
then let's move right into strange moves.
Okay, so let me start us off with this one. This was kind of a funny, strange move. I really enjoyed it when they were down in the tunnels and Nick tripped a little bit.
Yeah.
He put his foot in a puddle and then he said it was Aaron's fault. He was like, I can't even see where I'm going or whatever. And Aaron's like, I
great.
can't see where I'm going. Why am I supposed to make you see where you're going? And then they start laughing and joking about the puddles being raw sewage. And Aaron does like a zoom in on a disgusting still puddle.
I loved it. And then, Zach is like, not only does he say it's raw sewage, he's like, your toenails are going to be green.
Oh, yeah.
But they're all like laughing.
Yeah, totally.
It was totally one of those moments where it was just like, oh, this looks fun.
They leave in a bit of fun. William, I think you would really enjoy watching that show Screaming Room, which is...
I'm sure I would.
Yeah, I know you would. But you should check it out. It's where they watch the episodes and comment on them. It's almost like pop-up video, but they're there.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of those kinds of moments overlaid over a show.
I wonder if when we get to episodes that they've done Screaming Rooms for, we should watch the episode itself and Screaming Room. Because we're never going to do a standalone episode of Screaming Room.
Yeah,
that would be silly.
That would be good. That would be a good thing to put on like Patreon.
Right? Yeah. That could be kind of fun, yeah.
Yeah.
For one of my strange moves here, there's a moment where they're like, it's pre-lockdown, so they're doing all their interviews with people who work at the factory, the furnace. And somebody's telling the story of a guy who took a lunch break next to this gigantic turbine or something.
Oh my God.
And Zach goes, bad place to take a lunch. And the guy just kind of ignores it. And he goes on telling the story. He's like, so this just giant turbine is working right next to him. And eventually it just pulled him right off the ground, sucked him in, and crushed him up in the machinery. And Zach just goes, that's a bad lunch. And the guy just ignores that too and keeps telling the story. He's like, so anyway. But I loved it.
That's bad lunch.
A little non sequitur that's largely ignored. That's a bad lunch. It's like something out of like Death Wish.
Yeah.
Some action movie quip line.
Oh my God. He likes to have
canceled.
He likes to have his fun.
He sure does. That's a bad lunch.
That's a bad lunch.
Something Ash would say in the Evil
Yeah,
Ash
you're
versus
right.
Evil Dead.
Yeah, you're totally right.
That's a bad lunch. About a sandwich that turns into a monster.
Right. I have something about the EVP that we already talked about that they thought sounded like screaming in the tunnel or something.
Yeah.
I thought it sounded like a dog barking. And Crumbs reacted to it. I forgot. There was this EVP that they did that was like bop, 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 like kind of rapid fire. And Crumbs like sat up.
Oh,
and
really?
Looked around. Yeah.
So maybe it was a dog EVP.
Maybe it was.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, I know.
That's very fun. I should show it to Molly.
Yeah. See, I'm sure she'll love it.
See how she reacts.
Yeah.
The only other thing I have for strange move is when they split up. There's a moment where Aaron is just going to watch these two monitors. On one is Zach alone, and on the other is Nick alone. Zach just sort of reacts to something.
Yeah.
He just hears one of the noises, like the pipe, banging or something like that. And Aaron goes, like, very quickly, I guess he gets startled by seeing Zach get startled. He goes, dude, are you all right? Did you just get slapped? He says, he just naturally assumes that Zach got hit by the same ghost. And Zach goes, no, I'm hearing noises. Just don't call me right now. Tells him to leave him alone. And I loved it. It was strange in terms of like Aaron. I guess, they show Aaron in the tunnel. He just all of a sudden like gets all freaked out because he says he got punched in the face by the ghost. And they know that ghost slapped that guy, or so the story goes. So to see Zach get settled in for Aaron to just go, what happened? Did you just get slapped?
Right. He's bringing his own experience to it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, just leave me alone. Just shut up.
No, I'm trying to do something here. Quiet.
I loved it.
Oh, that's so funny. All right, my last strange move is our first glimpse of future Ghost Adventures host, I don't know what you call it, Billy Tolley.
Is this the guy from Pimps?
Yes. He's a future cast member.
The Paranormal Investigations of Mysterious Phenomena Squad?
Correct.
Or Pimps?
Correct.
Hard
That
first
entire
impression for me.
Yeah, that's a tough one. So, yeah, before he was a member of the Ghost Adventures squad, he was, part of Pimps. And they bring footage to him to analyze, and my mouth was hanging open. I was aghast.
It's going to be hard for me to get over that.
I know, that's a tough one. I at least knew him before this. I mean, later down the timeline. I was shocked to see that he was part of something called Pimps.
Yeah. I'm going to have
Real
issues
dorky.
with that as he becomes more and more a part of the show, and I am supposed to like him.
I'm
not saying that I won't.
No, I know.
Or that this means that he's unlikable, but I could not stand the joke of being like, oh, we're pimps. We're going to be pimped out. And to name listen, liking horror
Yeah.
and being into ghost investigations already has a baggage associated with it, as if I'm doing all of my shopping at Spencer's.
Sure.
Spencer Gifts.
Yes.
Yes. And I have that Chucky doll. You remember
Hanging
Spencer
off your
Gifts?
backpack.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So for this guy to name his
I know.
ghost hunting organization Pimps.
He's setting us all back.
Yes, it was a setback.
It was
hard
a
to
setback
see.
in the ghost community.
It was hard to see. It was hard to watch.
I completely agree. I was shocked by it. I couldn't believe it.
I couldn't believe it.
I don't really have strong feelings about him today. Like he's a guy, he's like fine or whatever. So watching this, I was like, oh, I didn't realize that he was a loser. But also, this was,
It was 12 years ago.
exactly. It was a very long time ago. So I'm
Yeah.
sure I did things that I would think were
Yes,
extremely losery.
if we're judging ourselves today based on things we did 12 years ago.
Not great.
Yeah, not great.
Not great. So,
But
it was still a
yes.
shock, though. It was still a shock to the system. I wasn't expecting it.
Pimps.
Pimps.
The Paranormal Investigations of Mysterious Phenomena Squad.
Yeah, also, it's very shoehorned.
Yes.
It's not easy. They made it be pimps.
Well, they could have just left it at Pimp.
Or they
Paranormal
could've-
Investigations of Mysterious Phenomena.
Or they could have left it at pips.
Pips.
Yeah. Paranormal Investigations of Phenomena Squad. Or just
yeah, you're
Pip.
right. Pip. Hi, I'm Pip.
I like that. Hi, I'm Pip.
Can we be the Plumps somehow?
Oh, let's see.
The Ghost Plumps?
The ghost plumps. See, L is hard.
Paranormal Losers
Yeah, okay.
under Mysterious Phenomena.
Hang on.
Silly.
Paranormal losers of unknown.
Phenomena.
Yeah. No,
Squad.
that's just
Screw it.
plup. Will, it's plup. We didn't get an M in there.
Plump. Oh. Well, they just do the same thing.
Okay.
Paranormal Losers of Unusual Mysterious Phenomena Squad.
Yeah, plumps.
Unusual Mysterious Phenomena Squad. Plumps. Paranormal Losers. Perfect. We got it. Plumps. Coming to Travel Channel soon.
Frankly, I like it.
Isn't there another ghost show where it is an acronym? Am I wrong? One of the
there
big TAPS?
Yes. Well, TAPS is the team behind Ghost Hunters. Or
Okay.
it used to be.
Okay, I'm picturing the MASH logo.
Yes,
but
that is what
written as Plumps.
plumps. Well, that's what TAPS did. It's like the
And you and me
Atlantic
back to back.
Paranormal Squad or something.
You and me with our back to back with our arms folded. Plumps. Looking proud. Ghost Plumps.
Plumps.
Welcome to Ghost Plumps. So that would stand for the Ghost Paranormal Losers of Unusual Mysterious Phenomena Squad. Ghost
I'm
Plumps.
Kristen, and I'm Will. Welcome
to Ghost
to
Plumps.
Ghost Plumps.
I love it. I love it.
I think we need to get to pitching.
Paranormal Losers. It's incredible.
That is so funny.
Acting
The Paranormal
really,
Losers.
really theatrical and overly confident. But if
Very
you take
proud.
a look at our acronym, we're the Ghost Losers. Or the Paranormal Losers, whatever.
It could be glumps. Ghost Losers.
Ghost Glumps? So it's Ghost Losers?
We've always joked about having like a paranormal show. I like the idea of us having a paranormal show called Ghost Losers.
Ghost Losers? Oh my god.
Like if we just rebranded all that footage from our ghost hunting for the live show, which is on patreon.com/GT2UPod, and just branded that as Ghost Losers, and then
Ghost Losers.
which kind of makes sense because in it we're like afraid of other humans.
Yeah,
in
we
it.
suck.
Like we like run away because there's somebody who's, I don't know, standing near something that we want to investigate. At one
Yeah.
point, we're like in the woods, and there's another hiker, and we're like, "Oh, somebody's coming! Go, go, go!" And it has nothing to do with hauntings. It's just that we don't want to like cross
We don't
paths,
want to have a conversation with a stranger.
right? And like nod. So I guess we are ghost losers.
Do we make a pilot for Ghost Losers?
Yeah, we do make a pilot for Ghost Losers.
So you know how at the beginning of Ghost Adventures, Zach is like, I never believed in ghosts until I came face to face with one.
Right.
You know, like ours could be like, we love ghosts, and since we can remember, we've always been losers. You know? The origin of us being losers. Oh, God. All right,
Oh
well,
my God.
Ghost Plumps or Ghost Losers coming soon.
Coming
Now that I
at ya.
said- Now that I said Ghost Plumps again, I liked it.
I do too. I like them both. I like them both. Ghost Losers is very funny to me, but so is Ghost Plumps.
Ghost Losers is more understandable.
Yes.
Like I can imagine selling Ghost Losers.
I don't know. I
Ghost-
can imagine pitching Ghost Losers. I can't imagine selling.
Okay, I can imagine
I'm
making
kidding.
and pitching Ghost Losers.
Yeah.
Ghost Plumps is funnier, but no one would ever understand it,
No.
and it would never go anywhere. But it's funnier.
No, it's a long walk.
Ghost Plumps.
Ghost Plumps.
So stupid. All right. Let's. Do you have anything else for Strange Move?
No, that was my capper.
Ghost Plumps.
That's a perfect segment for us to have been talking about Ghost Plumps and Ghost Losers. Strange
Oh my
moves.
god. All right.
All right,
Let's talk about most dramatic moments.
Most dramatic moment.
All right, Will, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I think it is like undeniable. There is one moment that rose above the rest as the most dramatic and like almost upsetting.
Okay.
Zach and Nick early on climbing up that
Yep.
200-foot ladder to get to the top of the structure.
Yep.
They're as high up as a water tower.
Yep.
And on the climb up, Zach points out that some of the stairs are missing their bolts
Right.
to keep them in place.
Holy crap.
And so you have to walk with your feet on the outside edges of the steps so that you're being held by, the supports.
Right.
I did not like that.
That was genuinely scary. And for some guys who, even though they're obviously ghost investigators, I tend to regard as kind of scaredy cats.
Yeah.
I was surprised they even took that on.
I know. I thought that it was very scary.
Yeah.
I don't like heights,
No, I don't either.
and watching that footage made me nervous.
Yeah. Yeah, it was intense.
Aaron stays on the ground floor filming up.
Mm-hmm.
Zach is filming down at Nick at one point, and you can just see how far they've climbed.
Right.
I can imagine climbing halfway up that thing and then being like, I either have to keep going
Mm-hmm.
and get even higher, and then at some point I'll have to come back down.
I think the coming back down is worse.
Coming back down is definitely worse.
I think I wouldn't want to go higher, not even because of the climb up, but because I wouldn't want to go back down.
1,000%.
Yeah.
But like getting halfway up and then being like, I've had enough, you'd still have to go
I know.
the same distance back down. Like you're just screwed.
Totally. I know. That was so scary. That was also my most dramatic moment. But I also could not help but notice that once they got up to the top of the tower, and I don't blame him for walking funny and walking scared, but Zach was walking like me once they got on top of the tower. He was walking like he had a herniated disc.
Yeah,
and
he
it
was.
reminded me of when he was walking kind of like an old gentleman when they went in total blackness.
Yeah.
In the, what's it called? The Freemason temple place.
Yeah. Well, so let's call out one of the things about that. So they get up to the top and they're walking around, and it's level ground. They're walking on steel platforms, but the steel platforms are very thin and they are rotting and they are cracking.
It's crazy.
And so you can see through the floor.
Yeah.
So if one of those panels gives, they're just falling.
Yes.
So I completely understand his fear.
Oh, I do too.
I did have a part of my mind that thought, well, Nick is keeping the camera pretty steady. And it made me wonder if Nick was maybe walking pretty fine.
Yeah.
And Zach was just scared. So I now follow Zach Bagans on Twitter and Instagram and stuff, which is delightful. He seems like a wonderful person.
Yes.
He tweeted recently in response to somebody asking him to come to Ireland to do a ghost hunt. And he said, that sounds amazing, but I hate airplanes. Airplanes are worse than anything else. He said something like that.
Worse than anything else.
So I got the impression that he's afraid of heights.
Yeah, right. Right.
And I could see the fear on him, and bravo for doing it at all. Because I would have looked up at that ladder and been like, oh, there's not an elevator?
Right. I don't think I would have done that.
I won't go up there.
Yeah,
No.
I don't think I would have done that. Maybe like the pressure and adrenaline of that you're filming a show right now. Like the same way we talked about when the microphones go on, you're just like a little bit different. Like we're still ourselves, but you're aware that you're recording something for other people's consumption. Maybe if that kind of got to you, like we're making a show, but oh God, it was very, very scary.
It was so nerve-wracking.
Yes.
I did not like it at all. Most dramatic moment for me, without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the word nerve, there's a second most dramatic moment for me, and it's a little bit of a meta one. We had our first nerve center that they set up of the series, and this later becomes a complete staple. They do it every single episode. So the nerve center is where they set up a table with some monitors and communication to the people inside the building, and one of them, at least, sits outside the nerve center and kind of can communicate and see what's going on with everybody at the same time. And they set that up for this episode for the first time. And Aaron was stationed at it, and he was probably thrilled that he was stationed at the nerve center so he could be out of the investigation.
I would have to think so. I wonder then, because watching the nerve center stuff, so, again, Aaron is sitting looking at two monitors. On one of them is Zach alone, and on the other is Nick alone. And looking at that setup, at a certain point, something happens to Nick and Aaron goes running.
Yeah.
Leaving Zach unsupervised.
Right.
Meaning anything might have happened to Zach.
Right.
And Aaron would not have seen it. Nobody would have known that he needed help. And so that gave me like a little jolt of like, oh, well, this isn't good. But then nothing came of that. Zach was just fine.
Yeah.
So if they do this again and again in the future, I wonder if we will get to a point where something happens to one of them while they are not being watched by the nerve center, because that's a great setup.
Well, I mean, when I picture the nerve center now, it's almost always a few people there. And they also expand it to being, because in later seasons, Aaron isn't just the camera guy, he is an investigator. They have some crew on later seasons. Like right now, it does seem like it's the three of them. So there will sometimes, I think, be people who we don't really know, but they're like at the nerve center.
See, I like the vibe of the three of them.
Yeah.
Right now, maybe I'll continue to like it once they add more and more. But right now, I like how bare bones it is.
I think you will. It's fine. I enjoy the bare bonesness of it too, but I haven't been like, oh, this is so much better than the way it is later. It's kind of unobtrusive.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. I just think there's like a little bit of an awareness, at least at the nerve center. It's not like there are like a million people that you're aware of with them in tunnels and stuff. But I think that there are usually some more people who are kind of around.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha. Cool. All right. Do you have anything else for most dramatic moment?
I do not. So let's move on to best quotes.
Fantastic.
Best quotes.
Okay, one that stood out to me from earlier on where they are learning about the sad history of the furnaces is kind of an insensitive but funny moment from Zach where he's talking about men who would be working on those really high towers who would inhale carbon monoxide fumes. And he said, quote, they'd lose their coordination and fall and splat like pancakes.
Yeah, you're right. That's not very, I don't know. Sensitive, I guess, is the word.
But it was funny.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I noticed, I don't think I would have caught this if it weren't for the fact that I was writing down quotes as the episode was on. Mm-hmm. Twice in the episode, he refers to the ghosts as toying with them.
Uh-huh.
Which I just thought was funny as, something that was, stuck in his head to use that particular terminology.
Right.
Early on, I think it's right when they're doing that initial lockdown and they haven't got all their equipment set up just yet. Mm-hmm. And he sees the guy in the overalls or whatever. He goes, "You guys toying with us? It's not even full dark yet. You guys are already coming out to check us out. Well, I saw you. You still got me shaken up here."
I have that too. You still got me shaken up here.
You still got me shaken up here. He was talking to them like they were his friends.
I know.
For a while. It's really not until he talks to Slag that he gets antagonistic and
Yes.
starts to provoke. At first, he's just like, "Whoa, you really got me there," which I kind of like the vibe of that.
I know, it's really funny.
Buddy with a ghost.
Also, at one point, he says, "You little intimidated now because there's 3 of us down here." And I genuinely, at first, it took me 2 seconds to realize not, but I thought he said, "You little tomato now." He said, because he kind of gurgled, he's like, "You little intimidated now?" And I thought he said, "You little tomato now?" And I was
You
like, "You're
little
calling him a little tomato?" And
I'll squash you little tomato.
And then I realized.
That's funny.
Yeah.
At one point, once he's finally trying to provoke Slag, he says some awesome stuff. Mm-hmm. He goes, "Slag, are you the piece of crap who was slapping a boy in the face?
Yep.
Well, come do it to me. Come on, I can't even see you," which he loves to say. He loves to be like, "You're going to have an opening here because I can't even see you."
Right.
"You still here, Slag? You still think you're working? Would you make a noise for me?" It's like, you can't provoke me and then ask me to do something
Ask
for you.
a favor.
And then once he does, again, he's like, "That wasn't good enough. I'm not satisfied." He's asking a hell of a lot from Slag.
I want to note, it's obviously just this guy's supposed name or whatever, but in case we have any British listeners, I just want to acknowledge, I'm sure they've noticed, slag is slang in Britain.
Oh, it is?
For a promiscuous woman.
Oh, yes. Okay, I did know that.
So
Right.
I bet there are some people who watched this or are listening who are, they think it's kind of funny.
Takes on a different context.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, supposed to be the foreman who was
Yes.
a real jerk
Yeah.
to his workers, and they pushed him into a furnace.
Right. So this is either his name or they nicknamed him this or something.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah.
He also says, "I said start working harder, Slag," which, from what we saw, he didn't.
What?
He didn't. I said start working harder. He didn't previously say, "I want you to work hard." I said start working hard. He just starts with, "I said start working harder, Slag. Slag, if this is you, I want you to get back to work right now, because we don't work for you."
Ooh.
"Do you not like what I'm talking, Slag? Do you not like this?" I was confused by that a little bit. "I want you to get back to work, because we don't work for you."
I mean, I
Doesn't
think
make
it's
sense.
just, that Slag was the boss and he wants to put him in a subordinate position. And Slag would not like that because he's not used to that.
I guess so. He says a bunch of things to Slag that I thought just literally did not make sense.
Yes.
They were not logical.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah. He says, "Do you have anything else?" I'm just railroading all these quotes.
I only have one more thing, so you go ahead.
Oh, okay. So his big Slag moment. He goes, "Come on, Slag, is that you? Are you getting pissed off? All you can do is make some noises? Come on, I want more than that." And then he hears one. He goes, okay, Slag, you're doing a good job there, man. You're doing a good job. Come on, Slag. That's pretty good, buddy. All right, Slag, I want you to do me a favor. You see this little red light? It's his recorder. I'm telling you right now, Slag, you're fired. Grab all your gear and get out of here now. I'm taking your new job. I'm taking your new job." And then he hears another big sound, and that's when he hears the "come here" EVP. There's probably also a bunch of other EVPs in that moment of people going, I hate Zach, but we don't hear those.
I hate Zach. I hate
this
Zach.
guy.
Yeah.
I hate Zach. Shut up. Leave me alone.
Yeah,
I'm taking your new job. You're fired, Slag. I'm taking your new job. The story there would be,
Yeah.
I'm firing you from the furnaces. And then, Slag, now that you're unemployed, you have to find a new job. But once you apply for it, I'm going to get hired.
You know what? When I was talking about that moment as one of my most convincing, I wrote, I'm taking your new job. And I thought I must have miswritten that. So when I read it, I just said, I'm taking your job.
No, it doesn't make sense.
I should just know that anytime I write something down for this, I might think that I wrote it wrong, but I probably wrote it right.
100% correct.
Yeah.
I'm taking your new job.
Right.
Is what he said. He says it twice.
Yeah. Yep.
Says it twice to the ghost. He says, you're fired. I'm taking your new job.
Bless it. Bless it.
That would surely provoke me.
It sure would. Well, speaking of provocation, here is my final best quote. This is when he's talking to Billy of Pimps, and they hear the I hate Zach EVP, which they see as pretty definitive. And Zach says, there you go. Provocation works, does it not? I only do it to the spirits that are bad. Just letting you know that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's true to his word. I really did feel like he was buddying up to a lot of the spirits, except for Slag.
He's giving Slag some mixed messages, though, because he's like, I'm yelling at him. Then he's like, okay, did a good job there, buddy. Good job. All right, I'm firing you, and I'm taking your new job.
Right.
Like, just all over the place.
Because I think he's scared.
I do, too. I think he can't think straight in the moment sometimes.
Right. Yes.
And the pressure of being on camera, like, it's a whole thing in there.
Right. Like, I think what's really happening, what he says doesn't make sense.
Right.
It doesn't make sense to be like, I'm provoking you. You're an idiot. Okay, you're doing what I want. So good job. Good job.
Right.
And I still think you're an idiot. But
Yeah.
what I think is really going on there is he's going, provoke, provoke. Oh, my provocation worked. Oh, my God, it's working.
Yes.
Provoke, provoke. It's just the words coming out are weird.
Yes.
Don't, connect to that emotion.
Yeah, I think you're
Yeah.
correct about that. All right, Will, let's move on to feelings.
Feelings.
All right, Will, go ahead.
The only real verifiable thing that happened to them in the entire episode was when Nick stepped in that puddle.
Yeah.
Zach said it was raw sewage. I verified that. I could see with my own eyes.
Yes.
That he did, in fact, step into sewage.
Correct. Yes, I have nothing for physical/verifiable. For non-physical, we have classic major chills.
Yep.
Zach says that his whole body is, quote, froze over.
Yep. Yeah. My whole body is completely froze over. My whole body is completely chilled. Yeah. Nearly at a loss for words in this episode.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, maybe we may not have been picking up on the vibe that we're used to, but maybe it was because they were just paralyzed with fear.
Maybe, I guess so. My whole body is completely froze over. Yeah. Fantastic. That's all I got.
Yeah, that was a simple one. I think that's always going to be kind of a short, well, not always, but often a short category.
Probably, yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our final one. I've got some things to say here. This is the Bagan's wardrobe check.
Bagan's wardrobe check.
All right, Will, before I go into what I saw, do you have anything to say?
I felt it was much the same as in the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
A lot of black shirts that have a cross and tattooy, tribally looking stuff all around them.
Yep.
And then the return of the floppy hat at the end when he talks to Bill Tolley from Pimps.
Yes, but he did an edit to the hat. He softened. I called it a soft bowler to begin with, but
Right.
he softened it further. He has the brim down in the front, so it takes on more of a fedora flavor. If you hadn't already seen that hat and you knew how it looked in the back, I don't think that you would have necessarily known that this hat could take on that previous shape.
Quick question on the hat.
Yeah.
It's too big for him.
It's
right?
too big. Yep. It's down way too low. It's like at his eyebrows. Your hat's not supposed to be that big. You don't even see his forehead.
I don't know that I've ever seen a hat that big unless the point was it's a comically big hat.
I know. It's really weird. it's a really weird choice. Like, I get everything else. Like, it's of a time and all that. But the hat just seems to me to be, exactly, it's like a joke hat.
Yes. It seems to be an obviously, apparently, too large hat to wear on camera on your show.
Right. I completely agree. It's like inexplicable to me that he has chosen that hat now in 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm. He should have wadded up some paper and stuck it into the top so that it at least sat up off of his eyebrows a little bit.
It's so low.
It's a very large hat.
You seriously don't even have like a hint of forehead in that hat.
Not even a whisper.
No, not the suggestion of forehead. If I just saw him and I didn't know anything else about him, I'd be like, oh, maybe that guy's something wrong with his forehead that he likes to conceal.
All right, cover art for Ghost Losers.
Yeah.
You and me dressing in clothes only from Hot Topic and Spencer Gifts with hats that are too big.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Fantastic. I'm all about that. But besides that, like, yeah, you're right. It was much the same. I noticed that he was wearing a different shirt than last time, but it still had shoulder embellishment, like in the last episode. So that seems like something that he likes.
He loves like an off-center piece on the front. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's as if Superman had his, the Superman S off to one side.
Right, on the shoulder instead of in the center.
Right.
Belt buckle same, hair same, baggy pants same. And I noticed that there really aren't like any of the hallmarks of the iconic Bagans we see today. Like, he just dresses very, very differently besides it all being black. And it made me think that, seriously, what he wears now, it is iconic. Like, so one of our, like, there's an artist that we're a fan of who's also a listener of our shows, whose name is Brett Manning. You can look up Brett Manning art on Google and things will come up. She posted on her Instagram a bunch of, in one slide, like pictures of clothes and accessories, and was like, guess who I'm going to be for Halloween? And it was Zach Bagans.
Incredible.
And so it was glasses, it was like a black hat, and there were all these things that, yes, like without any other context, besides knowing, of course, that she's into ghosty stuff, you're like, that's signature Bagans stuff, and none of it is included in his early wardrobe. So it'll be interesting to see it evolve, and whether it's piece by piece or all of a sudden we're, bam, right in Bacon's costume territory.
Yeah, he is evolving. He's like a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Where, like, right now we're looking at a Charmander.
Yeah.
But Bacon's today is a big, tough Charizard.
Oh, absolutely. Also, we got what, I don't know if I just hadn't noticed it before or what, but I got at least my first peek at an arm tattoo.
Oh, okay.
And I looked it up. We'll maybe see more in the future, but I looked up what this particular tattoo is, and it's a Celtic cross on one of his arms. I know that he later has a cross tattoo on his finger, and I just hadn't noticed it before. So I thought that it was worth mentioning.
All right, we'll study every inch of this guy's body.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I looked up his he has a bunch of tattoos, but I don't want to talk about them yet, just in case. I want to let
spoil
us.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Exactly. I want us to let it unfold as the show unfolds. Now I know as a person, but we don't know as viewers altogether. So I'm not going to go there yet. Last thing I have to say is that I think during the investigation part in the night vision, I think he was wearing low Doc Martens, like the shoe, not the boot version, because I think I noticed the classic contrast stitching. It's a good shoe. It's probably a good shoe for investigating. It's comfortable. It has the signature bouncing soles. So
This segment's getting weird.
Well, guess what? You're lucky. It's done.
Okay.
And we're done.
Just to take myself down a peg, I also only wear black. I
mean, I'm no fashionista or fashionista.
It's all I like to wear. It's all I plan to wear for the rest of my life. The second that I got a job in writing, where I was like, oh, okay, I don't have to like show up in an office and pretend to be like, I don't know,
Office Willie.
all the time. Yeah. I was like, get rid of all the blue shirts. Get this stuff out of here. I'm only wearing black. I don't care. I just want to dress the way that I want to dress from now on. So I get it. I also love an accessory.
What?
I do. I like my glasses.
Oh, well, I mean, they're technically an accessory, but you also need them to see. So I don't really think that counts.
Accessorize your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I love glasses. I have a bunch of pairs. I read once somebody said that they're the shoes of the face, and I totally agree.
Okay.
I like to switch them up.
How's this? I like crap on my head. I like my beard.
Okay.
And I like my glasses. And
Okay.
I like wearing headphones.
Yeah. Okay.
There
Yeah.
you go.
No,
That's really it.
I get it. Black is definitely. I throw some other colors in there, but black is my favorite color to wear by far. When I
Yeah.
see it, my eyes like relax, and I'm like, there you are.
Comfortable. Yes. Yes.
Like when you
So-
see a loved one for the first time or a future partner, you're like, yes, it's you. When I put
Yeah.
on something black, I'm like, there you are. I feel my best. So
Oh,
I get
there
it.
you are, Peter.
Oh, there you are, Peter.
Now, having said that, I will love nothing more than to, because I will make this happen out of sheer force of will.
Mm-hmm.
We will shoot a cover at least
Will,
for Ghost Losers where my hair is like slicked forward
Oh my God.
and I am dressed in Hot Topic clothes. I would love nothing. I love a costume as well.
Yeah.
I'm a theater dork. I love costumes.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I'm genuinely into it.
Okay, perfect.
So we'll do it. I'm completely down for that.
All right, so look out for Ghost
And it's
Losers,
doable.
aka Ghost Plumps.
Right. It's doable because we can both wear masks and we can be back to back. So we're still,
Yes.
even though it's, we're close, our scariest like coronavirus parts
Our
will be away from each
faces-
other.
Our faces will be socially distanced.
Yeah, right.
Also, we could green screen it and make it look even worse.
Yes, exactly. Perfect.
Yep.
Like the cover.
all right,
Have you ever seen
everybody.
the cover of his first book?
His first book?
Yeah. Okay, we have to go.
You're not talking about Ghost Hunting for Dummies,
No,
which I
he has-
have at hand,
No, he has other books. He has at least 2 other books.
just outside frame. Ghost Hunting for Dummies. Are we going to do this book? Are we going to do his books like in release order? We should, right?
Oh my God.
Right.
Maybe. I mean, that could be another like Patreon thing.
Right, that could be fun.
Yeah, totally. All right, I'll look
all
into
right.
it.
All right.
All right, so stay tuned for info about that.
Yeah, there's so much more. There's so
Yes.
much more coming.
Yes.
All right, everybody.
All right,
thank you so
guys.
much for hanging out with us for another episode of Ghost Adventures Adventures.
Mm-hmm.
If you liked this show, then you're going to like everything that we're doing through Guide to the Unknown. Follow at GTTUpod on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to see new shows as they drop. This podcast is a spin-off of our mothership show, Guide to the Unknown, where Kristen and I are constantly talking about, horror, urban legends, pop culture, ghosts, stuff like that. If you hop over onto that feed, you're going to see that we've recently covered the predictions that are supposedly lurking inside of episodes of The Simpsons, where they theoretically have just seen the future and
Right.
called it out decades in advance. We've done ghost hunting that you can see on the Guide to the Unknown feed. You can also actually literally see our ghost hunting if you go to patreon.com/GTTU pod. People who join our Netherworld Warrior tier, starting at $4 a month, can get access to a ton of bonus material, exclusive podcast episodes, and yes, a sort of full-length ghost hunting excursion where Kristen and I went out into the world and explored some weird New Jersey locations and brought along our ghost hunting equipment. It's largely inspired by Zach Bagans
Yes.
and the Ghost Adventures crew. All of this, every link to all of these things can be found at the home of Ghost Adventures Adventures, gttupod.com. If you'd like, you can also reach out to Kristen or myself individually.
That's right. I'm at Chillin' Kristen on all social media.
And I am at The Myth Traveler. So thank you all so much for hanging out with us, and we will definitely be back next time to talk about the abandoned psychiatric hospital. That's episode 6 of season 1.
That's right.
But we're really still just in the midst of our
Ghost Adventures.
a hat that big, unless the point was it's a comically big hat.
I know. It's really weird.